What's up, military millionaires and future real estate investors or current real estate investors? Today is the third video in our 6-video series where I ask 5 real estate and YouTube rock stars to talk about and answer some difficult questions. So today's question is, what was your top limiting belief and how did you overcome it? Maestro, cue the intro. Leading us off is going to be Mr. Alex Felix again.
What was my top limiting belief when I first started real estate and how has that changed? Money. I thought money was going to be way more important than it is. I thought having my own money was going to be more important. I did start with my own money and it's a limiting belief. What I realized was that you need something that's far harder to get and far more important than money. That's talent and knowledge. You got to know what you're doing and you got to be able to sell that to other people. That's hard. And money's easy to get. Once you have talent and some experience and you can sell your talents and experience to other people, then you can get all the money in the world. I spent the first bulk of my real estate career, last few years, saving up money, doing everything on my own because I was too afraid to ask other people for money because I didn't know what I was doing, which is a good way to be. Too many people ask for money and don't know what they're doing, and I don't really recommend that. But once you know what you're doing, you can get all the money in the world. Spend time up in your talents, up in your knowledge, up in your experience. The money will come.
I like what he said here because money is definitely like the number one excuse that I hear for why people don't get started in real estate. And I have come to realize the same thing. As you get smarter and as you get, more talented and as you understand more about real estate, if you get a good deal, the money will come assuming that you find the right people to partner on the deal. We're going to roll right into Mr. Chad Carson.
When I first started investing in real estate, I was 23 years old. I had just gotten out of college. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have any college debt, thankfully, but I didn't have all the expertise and experience. And that was really my biggest limiting belief. I was talking to myself saying, you know what, Chad, you are 23. What in the world do you think you're doing trying to buy houses from people who are in their 40s, their 50s, their 70s? And what do you think you're doing going to a bank and asking them for a bunch of money when you're 23 years old and you have no experience? Like, what are you doing? This is crazy. And so those kind of thoughts are going on in my head. And obviously I had to overcome them. Like, how do you do that? And we all have some kind of deficiency, some kind of weakness that we have to overcome. And for myself, I did that a couple of ways. One was not running from my weakness. That was definitely something that was a liability for me. But when I talked to bankers, when I talked to private lenders, when I talked to sellers, I would just be honest with them. I would say, you know what? I'm a new investor. I know it kind of seems weird that I'm a 23-year-old out buying houses, but I hope that I can demonstrate to you that I can add a lot of value to you. And if it doesn't help you, if I'm not helpful, if I don't know what I'm doing, by all means say no. Say you don't want to work with me. And so I acknowledged it up front. That sort of diffused the elephant in the room. And it also, I could turn it around. I could say, but what I can do is I have a lot of time. I'm very enthusiastic. I can help you out in these ways. And so that turned my weakness around and acknowledged it and it kind of brought air to it. The other thing that I did to try to compensate for that was within my realm of what I'm doing, try to be as knowledgeable and add as much value as I can. So when I first started, I was out finding deals for other investors. So I tried to get really, really good at one little neighborhood or just several neighborhoods. Now I couldn't be an expert on the whole region of where I was investing. I couldn't be an expert on the whole business of investing. I just didn't know it all yet. So what I could do was I can know that neighborhood, what's for sale, what sold recently, what realtors were working in that neighborhood, what people, what kind of opportunities are coming along, what things are changing in that neighborhood. You can become an expert in one little slice of anything really quickly if you put your mind to it and you focus and you learn. So what I did, I was honest about it, and then I quickly tried to find something I was good at, something I could add value to. And if you do that, I think you can overcome some of your limiting beliefs that are apparent weakness and make them your strength.
Negative self-talk and imposter syndrome is essentially what he's talking about here. And I'll tell you that I still struggle with imposter syndrome to this very day. It's a very real thing to think like, who am I to do this? Who's going to listen to me talk about that? I'm not an expert. I'm not a whatever. And so it's cool for me to hear someone like Chad say that because I look to Chad as a real estate investor. He's further along than I am, but also as a business owner, YouTuber, and all of that. Chad has been in the blogging game and the financial independence, like educational game longer than I have. So it's comforting to hear that he has some of those similar limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome that I do. And I know a lot of other very large people struggled with this. It just takes time to get over it. But I'll tell you, You're the one in your own head. We're going to roll right into Mr. Matt Faircloth.
So the top limiting belief I had is not so much a limiting belief that like, oh, I can't do something. The limiting belief I had is that I could do everything. That was a limiting belief. I'll be pretty good at showing. I'll be pretty good at doing the books. I'll be pretty good at directing where the business should go and talking to contractors and everything like that. But that was a limiting belief because the limitation was that I would be good enough at those things to get by. The limitation was that there are people that are better at those things than I am, and I probably should have teamed up with them or enrolled them or hired them or whatever to help me out. So the limiting belief is that I could do everything.
Now, Matt's is actually like the exact opposite of Chad Carson's, and we'll actually see how going that far to the opposite spectrum is actually can be devastating as well. And that's the I can do everything, meaning that he's not going to outsource, because if he can do property management, why would he pay someone else to do it? If he can do taxes, why would he pay someone else to do it? And this is a limiting belief because there's only so much that you as a person can do, right? Your time is limited. So I think that's very powerful. I think there's a happy median between who am I and am I able to do this, and wow, I can do everything, so I should just do it instead of pay a professional. Like, no. Middle ground, guys, middle ground. All right, we're up with Mike Dimazzo.
Top limiting belief I had was definitely you have to wait until you get older and you need a ton of capital to start. For me, the way I overcame it was to seek out others that have done it at a younger age than me or have done it with so much more time than me. And I was able to learn from them and kind of pick up things of like, okay, that worked for them, that worked for this person, that might not work for me. So that's definitely how I overcame those challenges.
So he mentioned the money as well, like Alex, but he thought he had to wait till he was older, and that's kind of a common misconception as well. I think if you have the opportunity to take out a loan, like real estate is just like the index fund or a retirement fund or compound interest. The sooner you get started, the better off you are. And I know for me personally, if I'd known what I was doing with my thrift savings plan at an earlier age and like put more money into it and been smarter with it, I would have at least double, if not triple or quadruple what I do right now in the TSP. And so, getting started now is like the sooner the better. The old quote, the best time to buy real estate was yesterday, the next best time is today. I think that holds true. As long as what the other one, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. They're all there for a reason. And now we're going to roll into Mr. Dan Winn.
All right, so the biggest limiting belief that I had was that I could not do something until the process was already proven, right? So what I mean by that is I did not want to buy my first rental property because I hadn't proven the process or I haven't proven the concept to myself. Basically, I just didn't think that I was capable of doing it because I didn't really know anyone that was doing it, and I didn't come from a family that buys rental properties and things like that. So I didn't know any better. How I overcame that was by going to intern for someone. I went and worked and did manual labor on flippers' job sites for free in order to understand that process. Now, going through that, it was basically me going to the job site and learning everything for free. And all I did was get up on roofs and put some shingles up and plant some flowers and things like that. So it was easy education for me, and through that I understood the concept. That was good enough to prove the concept for me.
I think Dan and I differ a little bit on this because I'm much more of a build the parachute on the way down, and it sounds like he's more of a parachute needs to be built and checked a million times before you jump out of the airplane. But I think that's also good, right? Either end, this is similar to the imposter syndrome thing. The middle ground is where you want to be. You don't want to recklessly throw yourself into risks, but you also don't want to, spend so much time worrying about what ifs that you don't actually take action. So find that middle ground and roll. And for me, I think we already mentioned this, the imposter syndrome and the what ifs and the questioning my ability and being an expert and who am I to do this and who am I to do that. I kind of fall into that spectrum. I also take pretty big risks when I jump into stuff, but I think the imposter syndrome is probably one of the things that I've struggled with the most, at least with this business. And then with real estate, I think just going too slow, thinking too slow. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Next up, we are going to talk about, what are we going to talk about next week? Next week, the question is going to be, How do you approach a rock star real estate investor with value? When, and this is the caveat, when it doesn't look like there's anything that they need, right? Because if they're that successful, what do they need from you? Well, they might not need anything, but this is how you approach them. We'll talk about it next week. Make sure you like and subscribe so that you get to see that video. Have a great day.